Right now, a Jefferson mother speaks out after a high school student uses artificial intelligence to create inappropriate pictures of her child. What the school district superintendent is saying about the investigation.
Plus, a case of measles is confirmed in Madison. What we know about the patient and how you can keep your family safe.
And later, we'll have 6 more weeks of winter or not. Or is spring on the way? What Sun Prairie's Jimmy revealed this morning. We welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. Right now, we're learning more about the allegations of inappropriate use of artificial intelligence at Jefferson High School.
Yeah, just last week, the Jefferson Police Department confirmed an investigation, and today our Tanisha Shaw talked to a parent whose daughter was in those photos.
It caught me off guard. I was kind of in disbelief. Upsetting.
As a mother, Brittany Sorensen deals with a lot, but she could not imagine dealing with fake, inappropriate pictures of her daughter floating around Jefferson High School.
That protective part of me came out, and it's why I wanted answers right away.
Sorensen's daughter had to miss school after seeing a public folder that made inappropriate photos of her daughter and other students. The photos were made with artificial intelligence and without consent.
A lot of them are girls standing across the room or even underneath their desk or from behind. So it's not, you can tell he didn't ask to take these pictures.
Some of those photos taken here at Jefferson High School. Sorensen told me that there were so many photos in that file that she could not stomach going through the entire thing.
My daughter said, there's probably over 100 girls that are on these images, and there are some, she said, from a different district. So it doesn't just stay to Jefferson.
Sorensen said her daughter did not know the student that well.
She feels gross. She's like someone, invaded her privacy, even though, she could be sitting just at her desk. And there was pictures of her just sitting there. Like she didn't know how to kind of collect her emotions from it.
In a statement, Jefferson School District Superintendent said that there's a lot of misinformation about this situation. In October 2025, Jefferson Police investigated a student using a phone inappropriately at Jefferson High where phones are not allowed. High school staff thought the photos on the student's phone were, quote, pornography, and turned the phone over to police. Superintendent Dr. Charles Ernest said Jefferson Police found out the images were AI in January 2026.
We should have been known what was somewhat of going on so we could better protect our children and talk to them. Obviously, there's a lot of lessons to be learned with all this going on.
Reporting in Jefferson, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Tanisha. And as you heard her say, the Jefferson School District has confirmed students from other districts are involved in this situation as well. Also, an investigation is underway in Mount Horeb over concerns that a school district coach had inappropriate communications with students. According to the press release we received, officers were made aware of the situation last Friday. The school district says it contacted police immediately when they learned about this. Preventative measures are now in place to make sure the suspect is not on or around any school property. Anyone with information related to this incident is urged to contact Mount Horeb Police.
Wisconsin is experiencing a sharp rise in sextortion crimes targeting children. State Department of Justice reports more than 650 sextortion-related cyber tips in 2025, nearly triple the 230 reports from a year prior. Special Agent in Charge Jesse Crow says boys ages 13 to 17 are the primary targets. Unlike other online crimes, he says these schemes focus on money, and in some cases, the consequences can turn deadly in just hours.
Most suicides in these types of cases occur within 8 hours, and so it's very important to get them resources to know that they are victims of crimes, to know that there is help out there.
Now, Governor Evers signed Braden's law in December, making sextortion a felony. News 3 Now's Kyrion Lee shares what parents need to know to prevent and take action against sextortion. That's tonight after FBI on News 3 Now at 10.
And in health news, the first case of measles has been confirmed in a UW-Madison student. The Wisconsin Department of Health and Public Health Madison-Dane County say that the student was exposed to measles during an international travel. This person is not connected to the case reported last week in Waukesha County. Right now, health officials are working to notify people who may have been exposed. Now, some exposure locations here include the Brogdon Psychology Building, the Weissman Center, Genetics Building, and also Union South.
So the incubation can go through 21 days. So basically what we're saying is that after that date of exposure, then you would have to quarantine, watch for symptoms for 2 weeks after that. So it's like a full through day 21 is what we say. But yes, it's for 2 full weeks after their last exposure.
While it is unconfirmed whether the UW student who got sick is vaccinated against the measles or not, we do know all 36 of last year's cases here in the state were in unvaccinated people. Wisconsin's childhood measles vaccination rate is also well below the national average. Meanwhile, the Department of Health Services says people born before 1957 are considered immune and do not need to worry about a vaccine. All others without evidence of immunity should have at least one dose. At-risk groups include people in healthcare, college students, and those who plan to travel internationally. So if you were born between 1957 or after and are in one of those groups, you should get a booster. Now, kids should have at least 2 doses. Public Health Madison-Dane County offers free vaccines as well for people without insurance. You can make an appointment at publichealthmdc.com.
A woman is in critical condition after a snowmobile accident this weekend on Lake Koshkonong. First responders were sent to the lake near North Shore Road late Sunday morning. The woman was found 500 yards offshore on the ice. Emergency personnel were able to reach her by UTV and provide medical assistance. She was then flown by MedFlight to the hospital. No injuries were reported. And 2 people are dead, another in the hospital after a 2-vehicle crash in Beloit yesterday. Officers responded to the intersection of Cranston Road at Prairie Avenue about 2:28 Sunday morning. One of the vehicles was traveling east on Cranston when it hit the other vehicle traveling northbound on Prairie Avenue. Both drivers died at the scene while one of the passengers was taken to the hospital for urgent medical attention.
Well, Sun Prairie's most famous weather forecaster, other than Alex, was back on the job today. Sun Prairie welcomed early morning crowds in Cannery Square for the 78th annual Groundhog Day prognostication. Say that 3 times fast. Jimmy the Groundhog had some good news for winter-weary Wisconsinites. At sunrise, 7:11, Jimmy made his official forecast. Here it comes, I think, predicting an early spring, thank goodness and thank you. He communicated that to Sun Prairie Mayor Steve Stalker.
On the 2nd day of February 2026, I, Jimmy the Groundhog, have evaluated the skies over Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, and determined them to be cloudy. Thus, I am unable to see my shadow. In consideration of this, I hereby proclaim that we will have an early spring.
That is a happy crowd. Listen to the celebrating in Sun Prairie. Now, Sun Prairie does call itself the groundhog capital of the world. We like this. Coming up later, we'll have the predictions from the other famous groundhogs across the country.
So does the First Warn Weather Team agree with Jimmy? Here's Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington with the forecast. Alex.
Well, Jimmy, you can have the clicker for the next 10 days because, yes, the temperatures are going to be generally above normal, above average for the next 10 days, and it will feel mighty fine compared to where we were just weeks of being in that polar plunge. Even 20 feels fantastic. We'll be at 20 on Tuesday, 23 Wednesday, 30s by the end of the week, and 30s for much of next week, so get ready for warm temperatures on the way, relatively speaking, for this time of year. Lows tonight between 5 and 10. A few more in the way of clouds towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border, keeping those temperatures up above 10 degrees. Normal for this time of year is right around 11. Normal highs for this time of year have gone up 1 degree now. We're going to start the trend up each day or every couple days. That average high is going to sneak its way up degree by degree or a couple as we head now from February into March and head towards the true start of spring. Nothing against Jimmy's forecast, though. Temperatures in the 20s throughout the daytime. On Tuesday, plenty of sunshine. That's why we got the blue shades on. Blue skies in the forecast for Tuesday. Right now, 18, and with skies right now clear, that allows the temperatures to cool down quickly in Madison. 21 in Lone Rock, 23 in Janesville, seeing temperatures 18 to 19 to 20 across Dane County. But those clouds filling in eventually tonight will help to hold that temperature drop a little bit, starting off around 10 as we plan Tuesday, working our way up into the lower 20s. Now, you saw we had 30s in the forecast. Do we have any snow, though, in the forecast? When I come back in a little bit, we're going to track our small chance of snow, and I'll let you know when it is in just a little while.
All right, Alex, thank you. This morning, News 3 Now received a tip from a viewer about a string of car break-ins in the village of Cambridge.
News 3 Now's Jalen Biggs followed up on that tip and brings us the latest from law enforcement.
Sarah and Eric, the Dane County Sheriff's Office confirmed with me that there were incidents in Cambridge overnight. In a release, the Sheriff's Office says they are investigating multiple vehicle break-ins, thefts, property damage, and 2 residential thefts in several towns and villages in eastern Dane County. The sheriff said the incidents may also be linked to a string of break-ins in Jefferson County. Jefferson County confirmed the connection in a press release of their own, saying a car was stolen in Jefferson County and was recovered by the Madison Police Department. They also said they received at least 40 complaints across the county pertaining to car break-ins, and that at least 2 people were entering locked and unlocked vehicles across the county, and at least 1 residence had been broken into. Now we'll continue to follow this string of car incidents and home incidents in Cambridge and their connection to Jefferson County, as well as how many cars were involved. We'll keep you updated both on air and online. Eric, Sarah.
All right, thank you so much, Jalen. Coming up next, a partial government shutdown continues as lawmakers in the House take up a spending package.
Plus, how a bill moving through the state capitol would protect you from surprise ambulance bills. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
The House Rules Committee.
Welcome back, everyone. The House Rules Committee is meeting to take up a funding package to end the partial government shutdown that began this weekend. The committee is considering the deal this U.S. Senate passed on Friday. It separates the Department of Homeland Security and provides 2 weeks of funding. The goal is for lawmakers to negotiate reforms to ICE in the wake of the deadly shootings by federal agents in Minneapolis last month. Some Democratic lawmakers in the House have signaled they will vote against the funding package, demanding real changes before ICE and Customs and Border Protection receive more funding.
Taxpayer dollars should not be used to brutalize the American people and in some instances kill them.
Congress already passed about half of the funding bills, so money for things like the FDA and food assistance is not an issue this time around. Now to the state capitol, where a bipartisan bill aims to protect you from surprise ambulance bills.
A political reporter Ellie LaLiberte joins us now. And Ellie, what would this mean for service providers here?
Well, this legislation not only aims to limit what someone can be charged for an ambulance service, but it also changes how providers are paid. The legislation looks to expand the federal No Surprise Act, which increased protection for consumers related to surprise billing, but that left out ambulances. It would limit the amount a patient can be charged in their deductible or copay and require that in areas without an established reimbursement rate for EMS services, the rate will be 350% of the federal Medicare rate. But the chief of the Fitrona EMS says he's worried that it's not enough.
What doesn't get paid for in run revenue gets paid for by taxpayers. We also have to find the happy medium between it does cost money to run this service. It does cost somebody to be sitting here well-trained with maintained equipment to respond.
The insurance industry also weighing in, the Wisconsin Association of Health Plans voicing support for protecting patients, but writing, quote, this bill sets an arbitrary and often above market rate for emergency ambulance services, which would inflate healthcare costs for patients and consumers. Now, both the Senate and Assembly versions of this legislation have been heard in committee. However, the bill faces a deadline as lawmakers are set to break for the session by March.
All right, Ellie, thank you. Still ahead, how you can vote for this year's Best of Madison.
Plus, we take a look at what some of the other groundhogs across the country had to say about the future weather.
And Alex returns with a more scientific approach. A complete look at your First Warn forecast after a short break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Well, it appears not all of the groundhogs agree with Sun Prairie Jimmy's prediction of an early spring, though we vote for him. Over at Gobbler's Knob in Pennsylvania, Punxsutawney Phil says that he saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter. At least 2 other famous, or so they say famous, groundhogs, Staten Island Chuck from New York and Chuckles from Connecticut, Chuckles just makes you chuckle, also saw their shadows. But when it comes to accuracy, though, the National Weather Service says that Punxsutawney Phil is only right about 35% of the time. And listen to this, that compares to Sun Prairie's Jimmy 65% accuracy rating. So to see if we can settle this disagreement, I hate to do this to you, Alex, but we want your prediction, but we also know that you are the most accurate certified.
You're not going to compete
forecast
with Chuckles here.
I'm not competing with Chuckles. What I will say is that we're looking wetter than normal, according to the Climate Prediction Center, as we start to head into spring, and about a 50-50 chance of temperatures being above normal or below normal. But hey, you know what, Jimmy? Here's the clicker right now, because look at the 10-day forecast. That's okay. I'll use the clicker here. I'll talk for you. Temperatures are going to be above normal for the vast majority of the next 10 days. And I think we earned it, at least in my opinion, after being weeks in that polar plunge. This is going to feel mighty fine. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s by the end of the week, and then mid to upper 30s for a good part of next week. Tonight, temperatures very close to where they should be for this time of year, closing in between 5 and 10 degrees. Got a streak of 13s, though, down towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Here's why. A few clouds building in tonight. Can't rule out a flurry or two in southwest Wisconsin, but then the skies turn blue as we go into Tuesday, meaning sunny skies for much of the day. I think you're going to like these temperatures in the lower to mid 20s. Average high is 28 for this time of year, so we're making some incremental, meaning small bits of progress here. Actually, we've pretty much made it compared to our Arctic blast that we had. We were still hanging on to that last week. 18 in Madison, though, with clear skies out there. Anytime you have clear skies, you got fresh snowpack, or we got a little bit of snow this morning. Anytime you got that snowpack in the wintertime, that means radiation escapes to space, meaning anything that's warm, if you want to call 18 warm, that means heat's rising, going out to space, and what's replaced is cold air near the ground. And we've got 17 in Middleton, 19 in Cross Plains, 20 in Stoughton. But as clouds build in tonight, that should start to halt the temperature drop overnight. We'll end up right around 10 here in Madison, climbing into the lower 20s as the sun makes its return by the time we get to the mid and late morning hours on Tuesday here in Madison. What about snow chances? Now, we had a little bit last night going on into this morning, but just tiny chances. Look over to the right there, Thursday and Friday. Mostly dry, but just a small chance of a rain or a snow shower. And I said during the 5 o'clock newscast, here's how that would look, and widening things out, because a clipper-like system will impact much of the Midwest. Madison, areas west towards Wisconsin, River Valley, south towards Janesville. We're right on the edge of this weather system, so maybe a couple of raindrops even, or a couple of snowflakes. But it's quick. By the time we get to 6 o'clock Friday morning, that weather system with its precipitation in the form of rain, a mix of rain and snow, will be mostly east of southern Wisconsin, out over lower Michigan at that time. It may be a flurry or two throughout the day on Friday, but that's really no biggie, in my opinion. No big storms on the horizon for the next 10 days, perhaps next Wednesday and Thursday. It's way out there. Lots can change between now and then. We'll keep an eye on that potential active weather pattern returning very late in the 10-day period. But what you can expect as a recap here, just a small chance of a rain or snow shower Thursday night and Friday. Temperature staying seasonal, staying normal, meaning average over the course of the next 10 days, or at least pretty close to average, a few degrees above, and no alert days in the forecast. Jimmy doesn't do alert day forecasting, but maybe it can help a little bit with the temperature.
Not yet, he doesn't. Well, don't give him any ideas.
we'll have to train him.
Alex, thank you. Yeah. The first round of voting for this year's Madison Magazine's Best of Madison is now underway. Through the entire month of February, you can nominate any person, place, or thing to do in a wide variety of categories. Doesn't have to be in Madison either. Nominees can be from around Dane County and also other surrounding counties like Dodge, Rock, Columbia, and more. This round is write-in only, and you can vote once per day in each category per valid email address.
We're talking about another celebrity in Sun Prairie, not the groundhog.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy is, pretty famous in his own right, but Jalen Johnson is kind of on his tail, you could say. From Sun Prairie to superstardom, Jalen Johnson just keeps on leveling up. More on that next on News 3 Now.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS Telecom.
Layla Edwards grew up dreaming of playing hockey at the University of Wisconsin, but the two-time national champion has done a whole lot more than that. In 2024, in the Women's World Championships, she became the first black female to play for Team USA in the hockey level, and later this week, she'll do the same at the Olympic level.
I look at it as a privilege. I have the opportunity and ability to be that role model for young people of color. When they watch me play, I hope young black girls and athletes of color see an incredible hockey player, but more importantly, an incredible person, leader, and role model.
Our K-Racine will have a full story on the Trailblazer later this week. And the captain of Team USA's women's hockey team was announced today, and no surprise here, it's former Badger Hillary Knight, whose 5th Olympic Games will be her last. The Badger great says winning gold is the Stars and Stripes' only focus. Well, Wisconsin men's basketball got another big win under their belt this weekend. And as far as their NCAA tournament continues to take into shape, there's one win that you just keep looking back to. Of course, when they went to Ann Arbor and beat Michigan. I caught up with former Wisconsin men's basketball head coach Stan Van Gundy, who says when you see that win, you've seen it all.
I mean, the huge win at Michigan, I think, shows you, I mean, if you look at what Michigan's done this year, if you can beat Michigan, especially on the road, well, then you're certainly capable of beating anybody.
Well, you will hear much more from Stan throughout the week, and you'll be seeing this guy for the next decade. Jalen Johnson was selected to his first NBA All-Star game last night, and if that sounds familiar, he should. The former Sun Prairie star is shining bright, and that's just one of many certainly we will see in the future.
Cool. All right, Andrew, thank you. And coming up later tonight on News 3 Now at 10, measles confirmed in Dane County. Our Armand Rahman has more from local health officials about where the highly contagious illness was found and what you should do to protect you and your family.
Final check on our forecast.
Yes, Jimmy's forecast and my forecast for the next 10 days are in alignment with temperatures for the most part above normal. But tonight at 10, I'll let you know why our temperatures at nighttime for the next few nights are going to get pretty cold. That's coming up at 10.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Entertainment Tonight is next.
We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock, everyone. Thanks for watching.